Hi everyone. Tomorrow my daughter will be 21. As I reflect on my journey towards motherhood, I realize that the experiences I've had, the good, the bad, and the ugly, have shaped the work that I do and the woman that I'm becoming. When it comes to tackling health inequity, I want to share a snippet of one of the stories with you. When it came to my pregnancy, everything seemed to be okay until maybe about between week 10 and 12. And then around week 12, it was as if my skin went berserk. I was covered in spots. I was covered in dark spots. The skin on my palms were peeling, and there was blood and pus coming out. And I was just so uncomfortable. I remember the first time I went to the GP to start complaining, to say, look, this is not right. The first GP I saw said, oh, well, it's just dry skin. And they gave me some cream and they said it should be okay. And that if things don't improve in a week, I should come back. Of course, things didn't improve. Rather they became worse. So second week, I went back to another doctor and the other doctor said, oh, maybe it's psoriasis, gave me another cream and nothing improved. And then I went to yet a third doctor, and the doctor said, well, at the end of the day, he doesn't see anything different to what the other doctors have said, and gave me yet another cream for psoriasis or dry skin or whatever it was. And at this point, I was already thinking, this is what I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of this pregnancy. And I'd resigned myself to having to deal with hands that I could not show anyone because the peeling, the pus, the blood that was coming out of my palms, they were so bad. I didn't want to shake anybody. I didn't want to show my hands to anybody because I felt embarrassed. And I remember that it was my late sister who saw my skin and she was like, nah, this is crazy. Somebody needs to listen to you. And then she took me to the hospital in East London at the time. And she made such a fuss and said that she will not allow me to be fobbed off, that somebody needed to see me. And so I was then admitted to hospital. And over a period of 3 nights, I saw like 5 different specialists wondering what was going on with my skin, with my hands and everything, and wondering whether I had septicemia. But of course, when they did the tests and everything like that, it came back negative. So as a last resort, on my final night, they now decided, okay, let's send an experienced dermatologist. And I will never forget, when the dermatologist saw me, she was like, wow, this is a severe case of pregnancy-induced eczema. I haven't seen anything like this in my over 2 decades of practice. And eventually I went to see her in clinic, and then she gave me topical steroids, which then improved things over time. And as a result of that consultation, I was then put under 2 consultants, the dermatologist and my obstetrician. And that was one of the things that ensured that when my daughter was born, she was born preterm, I had the adequate medical attention, and as a result, my daughter is alive today. So now let me go back to one of the things I want to highlight in this particular video. Now, I saw the dermatologist because the part of East London that I went to is a part that has a significant ethnic minority population. And yet this dermatologist said that in over 2 decades, she hadn't seen anything like what I'd gone through. Now think about it. In an area where there was a significant ethnic minority population, a very experienced dermatologist had not said she hadn't seen something as severe as I had on my skin. Now, that raises a lot of questions because it then goes to show, it raises questions about What kind of images are in those textbooks? Number one. Number two, I remember that at the very first consultation in the clinic, the dermatologist asked if I could allow her to take pictures, before and after pictures. And I'm glad that she did, because when I look at those pictures, they remind me that this thing actually happened. It wasn't something I imagined. And 21 years on, I would have loved to tell you that things have changed, that there are more images in medical textbooks, in training, in things I used to train doctors, healthcare professionals, so that they can spot things on darker skin. But I'm sorry to say that things are still, we're still a long way away from things being improved. And these things that are missed, in fact, a couple of years ago, so 19 years after that incident, we went to another doctor for something to do on my daughter's skin and everything. And whilst we were trying to show this doctor that there was a significant discoloration on her skin, we showed before and after pictures. This doctor categorically said she didn't see it, that she cannot see anything different, and therefore there was nothing she was going to do. And I will never forget, when we left, it was like, my daughter was like, do these doctors, do they not see people like us? So when I talk about tackling inequities, tackling health inequities, and when I keep saying that I'm not going to stop talking, it's because these things, they have serious implications for people's outcomes, for people's experiences. Because the difference between my daughter being alive today, or me or her not being alive today, was to do with finding a consultant who actually, at least, who understood what needed to be done and who took me seriously, so that I could then be put on constant monitoring. But I know that for a lot of people going through the maternal healthcare system, that is not the case. For a lot of people going through the healthcare system, full stop, that is not the case. And I will never stop saying it. This is 2025. We can and we should do better. So that's why I will not stop talking about tackling health inequities. Thank you.